This video is a lab on SEO. And what is SEO? SEO is search engine optimization. And the subtopics we'll be looking at is key phrase, text length, inbound or internal links, outbound or external links, image key phrase, SEO title, and meta description. So these are the topics we are going to be touching all through the whole lab on SEO. Thank you very much. So for this tutorial on SEO, we'll be taking a lab, like I said, and I've made a draft post that will use to explain the concept of SEO. So this was a post in 2019. This was an actual post in 2019, but this image was not exactly there. This is a post in 2019 about UI management apologizing for the harsh conditions during a strike. So before you write your article or your news, you need to first get your key phrase sorted out. You need to have decided what's going to be your key phrase before you start, because your key phrase literally is like the bedrock of SEO. You need to have a key phrase to actually be making sense, like serious sense in SEO. So your key phrase has to appear kind of in your title. It has to appear like in your first paragraph and everything. So key phrase is very important. So you have to have settled it before you even start writing. So for example, if the topic of your write-up is strike like this and is localized, it's in the University of Ibadan, it's not generalized, right? You want to think of what will be the likely things people will be searching on Google that will concern the University of Ibadan. Obviously, one of the keywords or key phrase that they'll most likely search is the University of Ibadan, and maybe something strike, maybe strike too in the University of Ibadan. So you want to pick one of these things as your key phrase, right? So I decided to use University of Ibadan as our key phrase. What you need to note when you are writing is, firstly, under key phrase, you need to choose a good key phrase. Firstly, under key phrase, you need to choose a good key phrase. And what is a good key phrase? A good key phrase is a keyword or key phrase that is relevant. Relevance in key phrase means that people are actually searching for that keyword, right? People are actually searching for that keyword. So you want to use a keyword that people actually search for. For example, University of Ibadan. A number of people search for University of Ibadan daily, right? Quite a number of people search for University of Ibadan daily, from post-UME and everything. So you want to use a key phrase that is relevant. Then your key phrase also has to be short, and I will explain why your key phrase needs to be short. Then you want to account for key phrase density. The concept of key phrase density means that your key phrase must appear in at least two places in the body of your article. Now, I'm not talking of the title, I'm talking of the body of your article. Your key phrase has to appear in two places. So for example, in this lab, my key phrase is the University of Ibadan, and it's appearing in the paragraph. That's one first thing we have to discuss. Your key phrase must be in your introduction or your first paragraph. Your key phrase must be there. Then your key phrase needs to appear in another place in the body of this your write-up. Then the other place mine appeared here is this last paragraph, University of Ibadan. I intentionally made it bold so that you can easily see it in this lab, right? It doesn't have to be bold at all. It doesn't even need to be bold. I'm just making it bold so that you can see it. So your key phrase has to be dense. It has to appear in at least two places. Your key phrase must appear in your introduction or your first paragraph. It's good your key phrase is also in the title of your article or news. For example, mine here, the University of Ibadan, my key phrase is appearing here. I could have simply said UI, but UI is not my key phrase. The third thing under key phrase, your key phrase needs to be evenly distributed. So this is my first paragraph or introduction. Now, this news is a letter by the Vice Chancellor. Now, so most of the body of this letter, like these places that are italicized and quoted, they are the body of the letter. I cannot edit the body of the letter, right? So my key phrase is not evenly distributed, because your key phrase kind of has to be in the beginning, it has to be in the middle, it has to be in the end. of the article or news. That's key phrase distribution. It has to be evenly distributed across the body of the article or post or news. So that's about key phrase, right? What did I say? Let's do a review quickly on key phrase, because key phrase is like the most important thing. When trying to write, you need to first choose your key phrase. You need to imagine what people will be searching on Google concerning your topic. You have to choose it. Your key phrase has to appear on your title. It must actually be on your introduction or your first paragraph. Then your key phrase also has to be short. Your key phrase has to be short because, for example, my key phrase here is the University of Ibadan, and I said the key phrase has to be dense. That means it has to appear in 2 places, right? Imagine my key phrase was the Vice Chancellor of the University of Ibadan has apologized. It will be very hard for me to introduce it here. Basically, I will have to repeat everything. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Ibadan, I will have to basically repeat everything. That's when it's a key phrase. So it will be hard to make a sensible statement that doesn't look as if I'm repeating what I'm talking about if my key phrase is long. So that's one good reason why your key phrase has to be short. Then your key phrase has to be evenly distributed. So that's that about key phrase. And like I said, it's very important. We'll still see the importance in the other aspects of the talk, right? So that's key phrase. Then the second thing is text length. Your text has to be above 300 words. Your text has to be above 300 words. That's SEO standard. What do I mean by that? Like this whole body, these whole words here, all together, they have to be above 300. And there's a way you could check it on WordPress. You could just check your content structure. So my words here is 336. That makes sense. It's above 300. That's good for SEO. So you have to get that ticked also. Text length above 300. Then third thing is inbound link. So what's an inbound link? An inbound link is also called an internal link. What's the concept of internal link? Like our site is Campus News, right? It's Campus News. So what other posts have you done or have we done on Campus News before that is relevant to this topic, which is about internal strike in the University of Ibadan? So we want to check if we did a post before that is relevant and want to link it in the place that it makes sense to link it. So as at this time, something had also happened. Now that the post is about the management apologizing, but before then, NASU had already made a release that nothing has changed and the struggle continues. So this is like a relevant inbound link, right? So what you want to do is copy it, then you come back to the article. So when you are writing, you basically need to think of your SEO. When you are writing, you want to think of the text length. You also want to think of, okay, where can I get an inbound link? What can I do here? Where can I input an inbound link? So where I plan to put an inbound link is this second paragraph in the line that says industrial action of SANU and NASU. So you should have learned how to link in one of the previous posts, but this is how you do it. If you didn't get it, this is how you do it. You click the link, then you kind of verify if the link is correct, then you move, right? If you find out that it has turned blue, right? The way you link basically is that after you highlight a text, from this menu that is moving, you see A, B, I, italicize. Then you see an icon, that's the link icon. You want to click it, then link stuff to it. That's how you link basically. So that's that for inbound link. Then also the next thing is outbound link. At least your article has to have one inbound link at least. It could be more, which is good actually, but one is fine. So the fourth thing is outbound or external links. What's an outbound link? An outbound link is something that has been posted before in another site, not Campus News now, that is also relevant to this topic. So this thing has to also, for our topic now, which is strike, what we're looking at is what has been posted in other news, maybe in another newspaper, maybe Vanguard, maybe The Nation, that is talking about strike. Around this time in September 2019, Ngige had also said something and Vanguard recorded it. So it was basically about the strike, how that they met to they met with NASU and SANU leaders. So you want to link it somewhere. I also made preparations for that. In my introduction, there's a place where this first paragraph, due to the ongoing strike. So you click the link menu here, then it automatically links it. Sometimes it might not. You might have to come here. This might not be here. It might be this empty. So you might want to come here and paste it yourself, then click mark. Then it links it up too. So that's for inbound and outbound links. So the next thing you want to move to is image. Your article or post or news has to have an image in it. So for example, this is my image here, right? It has to have an image in it. So you should have learned how to add image with the block menu. You should have learned how to add image from this place, this menu here. From this menu here, this plus menu, that's how you add images basically. So I've added my image already. If you tap the image, you will see settings. When you click settings, this settings icon, when you click this settings icon, this one, when you click this settings icon, you'll be able to impute the alternate text. Now, you've added image, that's good for SEO. The other thing now is image key phrase. That's what we're trying to do here now. So your alternate text on your image, which is this place, it has to have a description about the image, and that description has to have your key phrase too in it. So you want to write something like, my key phrase is University of Ibadan and strikes. Maybe you could decide to make this your alternate text, but long story short, your alternate text also must have your key phrase in it, University of Ibadan, which is our example in this case. So that's that for image key phrase. That's about everything you need to do on the application. So like I said, I'd already prepared my post. I'd added the other things I needed to do. I tagged my posts. You should have learned how to tag also. I added my category. It's basically about university admin, so I tagged it university admin. Then I've now added my featured image. Then I've added an excerpt. Then when we get to meta description, you understand excerpt and meta description. Your excerpt can be your introduction. You can copy your introduction, some lines in your introduction as your excerpt. That can also go for your meta description, which we will soon talk about, because your introduction should have your key phrase, right? And in your meta description, your meta description also needs to have your key phrase accounted for it. So you could easily come to this image, click settings, and set it as featured image. You could easily do that. It's going to, if you click settings again, you will see remove as featured image. So this is going to be the image that will be displayed when people post the link of this post. After I publish this post, this is the image that will be displayed, maybe in the beginning of the post or anything. That's the concept of featured image. You always want to set a featured image. You could also have made a different image here, your featured image. So that's that about that. What I want to do next now is, I'm done here, but I'm not done with the SEO thing, right? So I can decide to save my post or publish it immediately and quickly complete the SEO stuff, because the other things we want to do on SEO, it has to be done on the website, because this application here does not have Yoast plugin integration. That's only available on the website, right? So we have to go to the website, because Yoast is the plugin we use for SEO. So you want to save or publish, you will still have to publish anyway. So when that is done, you want to pull up the website. This is the admin page. So for you, so you can just remember, you want to go to campusnewsng.com/WP admin. This is where you log in. This is where you can access the web. So like we've always said, don't log in to WordPress.com. Log in with your username and password, or to existing site address. So I'm still test user 4. My password is still this. No, that's wrong. This at 1%. ng.com. So this is my password, right? It's correct. So it takes me to my dashboard, right? So what do I want to do here? No, I'm not saving it. What do I want to do here is I'm going to post. So I click the side menu. I go to post, then I go to all posts. Most times, this is where it's going to pull out all posts for you. So as an author, you cannot edit posts that are not your own. You can only edit posts that are yours. So that's why you can't edit any of these posts here. So you want to go to mine. Then you could edit it. You will see edit, quick edit, and all of those options available. So you click it. Like I said, we want to complete the optimization process. The next things you need to do now, we've not talked about SEO title, we've not talked about meta description. We've chosen a key phrase, but we've not actually set the key phrase on Yoast. So that's what we want to do now. So you scroll down, you go to the Yoast plugin area, you want to assign focus key phrase. So what you do now is just type University of Ibadan here. So you've assigned a key phrase. You've assigned a key phrase. Then you also want to, if you notice, this turned to green. This turned to green. Now let's see the status of the SEO. So it's saying outbound link is good job, image key phrase is good job. If you can remember, alternate text in my images, I added it, my key phrase there. Images is there, internal links is there, key phrase in introduction, my first paragraph is there. It says well done. Key phrase length, my key phrase length is short, it's not too long. It says well done. Key phrase density, the focus key phrase was found 3 times. This is great. I mean 3 times in the article, right? Previously used key phrase, you've not used this key phrase before. Key phrase in slug. Now, I didn't talk about slug. Let's go back to the application. So, this is the slug. I would like to explain it here first. So, this is slug. If you do not specify, this is slug, then I didn't set any slug, right? So, when you don't set any slug, your slug automatically becomes the title of your article. That's why it's good your key phrase is also in the title, because if you forgot to set a slug, what is slug? A slug is the URL. For example, when I'm done posting this, the link to this post will most likely be www.campusnewsng.com/ the University of Ibadan management apologizes for the harsh condition. This is going to be the slug, the URL. So your key phrase has to also be in your slug, right? So it's good your key phrase is in your title, so that in case you forget to put a slug in this area, when WordPress basically automatically makes your article your slug, your key phrase also is going to show there. So that's that about slug. Then key phrase in slug, text length, text contains 336 words, good job. If it was below 300, it's not going to be green. Then SEO title width. Now, that's not supposed to be a good job. I will explain what is SEO title for you. Actually, it's because SEO title width was accounted for. That's why it's showing green. That's why this emoji is green. This emoji would have been maybe orange. But I will show you what SEO title is. So this is the SEO title. This is the SEO title. The SEO title now is automatically the title of the post, right? You can decide to change it. The concept of an SEO title is when Google indexes your article and recommends it to people after they searched something like University of Ibadan, your SEO title is what is actually going to show there, and not the title of your article. Do you get? Now, the title of my article is the University of Ibadan Management Apologize. So, but I could make my SEO title more alarming. So people might want to click after I get indexed. So my SEO title can be University of Ibadan. If you notice, it's changing. If you notice, it's changing here. It's showing how Google will preview it. It's changing here. Begs. Now, beg is more alarming a word. Begs, maybe our students. Now, the SEO title does not have to be long. You see, it's showing green here. If it becomes too long, this will turn to orange, saying that it's getting too long, man. It will turn to orange. Begs are students. Let's just do it practical, right? Let's do it practical. Because of the blah blah blah, right? You saw it change to red, right? It's now too long. What's the concept of SEO title? The title is now longer than Google preview. Google cannot read. You don't want what you are saying. People can see it when they search you now, because Google can talk about everything. Google just has some amount of words he wants to see. So your SEO title, you want your SEO title to be within that Google limit. From the preview here, you can see University of Ibadan begs as student because of is already getting plenty. So you want to remove kind of this line. You want to remove this line. Then it becomes green again. So this makes sense. Then for page separator and site title, you don't have to bother about that. That's the concept of SEO title. Then we've talked about SEO title. The last thing is meta description. Now this is meta description. Nothing is set here. So when you go, let's go back to the SEO analysis. You'll find out that we're not doing well on some things. One is meta description. We don't have a meta description. Then key phrase distribution. Now, like I said, the article we are using as case study here is a letter mainly. So, that letter covers like a lot of the body, a large chunk of the body. So my key phrase is actually in the beginning. My introduction or my first paragraph makes sense. I talked about distribution. It has to be in the beginning, the middle, and the end. So for this one, my key phrase is not in the middle because it's a letter. Now I can't edit what the vice chancellor said, right? So that's why we're not scoring high on key phrase distribution. It's not bad, but we're not still scoring high on it. So meta description. So what's your meta description? Your meta description is like your excerpts. This is the concept of meta description. So this is the SEO title. This is the SEO title, right? Then this is the meta description. This thing here. So it's saying please provide a meta description by editing the snippet. If you don't, Google will try to find the relevant part of your post to show in the search results. So it just makes sense that your meta description, which is like your excerpt, it just makes sense that it's your introduction. And your introduction already has your key phrase in it. And your meta description also has to, it also needs to have your key phrase in it, right? So basically what we want to do is copy paste some length of our introduction. And also the meta description does not have to be too long, also like the SEO title, because Google just has a limited preview area. If it's too long, it's going to be changed to orange and then to red, like it's happened for the SEO title. So let's try to copy our introduction, some parts of it. Let's just copy the first sentence. I'm going strike. Right. Then let's paste it here. So you can see, right? It's green now. If I keep typing so many things and it exceeds this preview, it's going to become red. It's going to become orange, then red. You can see it's turned to orange already, right? So you want to avoid that at all costs. You want to avoid that. You want it to be the length of the preview space. It doesn't have to be short, it just has to be the length of the preview space. This is literally the basics of SEO. You could see good result on 14. That makes a lot of sense. Google is going to index you when people search for University of Ibadan. When you are done with this, you want to now publish the post. You want to save it because this is not saved. These things you've done here, they are not saved. So let's quickly go publish. Now, because this mobile view, this edit area is not well optimized for mobile, your update is supposed to be somewhere here, but it is not. Somewhere here, but it's not showing right. If you are using the tab, you might see it. If you are using your desktop, you see it. So how you want to do this, you just want to maybe rotate your screen, then you see publish, right? So you publish this, so all your editings get saved. All the old things we just did just now become saved. So that's everything about SEO. If you see our SEO is green, then readability is something we'll talk about later. That's not in the context of this class here. So with this, your post is good. You want to go ahead to share your post with your circle of friends on WhatsApp or maybe on any of your social media, but you could also be sure that Google is helping you get impressions and readers. Google is doing it. Google is helping you now work to get more impressions and readers of this article, which you want, right? You want that views, you want the readers and everything. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it.